With the release of Pokemon Fire Red on the Nintendo eShop, I went back and have been playing it over the last couple of days in between my absolute addiction to Pokepia. That's actually one of the reasons why I haven't uploaded, is because I've been so addicted to Pokemon Fire Red and Pokepia. However, it's hard to review a game that's been out for so long. What I try to do when I play newer games is I try to have not my notes out necessarily all the time, but just so that way if I have some initial thoughts, I can just kind of jot them down. But I found myself not disliking Pokemon Fire Red per se, but I found myself yearning for something a little more. And I couldn't really put my finger on why, because Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are some of my favorite games in the entire franchise. They're the games that I basically started playing with. Generation 3 was the first generation that I ever had, and then I had Gen 1. So I've played Kanto a bazillion times throughout my life. And then when I was looking at my game collection, I realized why I felt so off. And it's because of a little forgotten remake of Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I feel like these two games are forgotten from the Pokemon fandom for the most part. Mostly probably because they were very divisive. Now, as pure remakes go, these are probably my second favorite in the entire franchise behind Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I almost just butchered that completely. I'm still waking up. I apologize. But the Let's Go games released in 2018? Right? 2018, I want to say. And these were the first Pokemon games on the Switch, like the first mainline Pokemon experience. And again, obviously it was very divisive because for one, it was trying to take advantage of the motion control in the Switch console, so you actually can't play the game with a Pro controller still. And then it also tried to invoke that feeling that Soul Silver and Heart Gold gave all of us with the little Poke Gear, but instead it's just like the Pokeball and you can't even really see the Pokemon that's in it. But then the catching was something that threw a lot of people off. And if you haven't seen the catching, well, it looks very similar to Pokemon Go, which is going through its own drama for basically just mapping out the world and using us as tools. But I'm not here to talk about that because honestly, I'm not smart enough to understand it. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were mainly there to capitalize on the major success that Pokemon Go had and the chokehold it had on the world in 2016. And as pure remakes, I freaking love these games. I've been going back to play Let's Go Pikachu just because I haven't really played it in a couple years and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, I'm always someone who prefers handheld mode for the Switch. So with the Switch 2 getting the new, I forget what they call it, but it's basically a boost to your Switch 1 games. So it kind of tricks the game into thinking that it's in docked mode when you're still in handheld mode. And it really helped get rid of a lot of the blurriness that the Switch 2 was experiencing going back and playing Switch 1 games pretty much since the console's been out. And I just want to say that I think Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are the best looking Pokemon games on the Switch thus far. Now, obviously they have a much more cartoony art style, but personally, I think this is the perfect balance of the more anime-esque look that the games have started to go for after Sword and Shield and the chibi art style that we know and love from the DS era. I think it looks better than maybe all of the 3D games. I don't know. I really like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and just that generation's art direction, but I think I'm biased towards the Let's Go games because of the follow Pokemon mechanic. Now, this is probably something that everybody remembers. The follow Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is easily the best since, again, Soul Silver and Heart Gold. Each Pokemon that follows you a little differently. They each feel very unique. When you have Snorlax follow you, you're just riding Snorlax, basically. Like, you're just holding on for dear life. And same goes for Rhyhorn. It invokes kind of the Rhyhorn ride from the Kalos games. And then when you fly around and unlock kind of like the fly feature for some of the other follow Pokemon, you then get to discover a whole new array of Pokemon in their environment in the sky. Now, the wild Pokemon don't necessarily interact with their environment all that much, but they're not just statically kind of walking in one or two pathways. They're running around, and in fact, they might make it very difficult and glitch out, and you might lose some encounters because of it. Obviously, the partner Pokemon in this game being either Pikachu or Eevee, depending on the game that you choose, are absolutely adorable. And it feels just like the anime, which is something that, come on, we've all wanted to have a partner Pikachu or Eevee at one point. The little dress up little mini game that you can do where you pet them and you give Pikachu or Eevee berries, and then you can dress them up to look like you. I mean, come on, dude. That is adorable. I'm a grown man, and I'm going to say that that's adorable. And then a lot of people also forget that this game had actually, in my opinion, the Let's Go Together feature is pretty good. It's a little junky still, I think, for a mainline Pokemon game co-op, but I really like these games a lot. Obviously, since it's a Switch era game, it's a lot faster paced than Fire Red and Leaf Green is. The only thing that kind of sucks is there's none of like the Sevi Islands DLC that Fire Red and Leaf Green got, which is kind of weird for it to not be in this game, but I mean, I get it. I mean, this game literally gives you Jesse and James from Team Rocket, so this is kind of the closest game to the anime that we've gotten thus far. The cutscenes, I think, are all really great and crisp. I think all of the 3D designed Pokemon look a little more personal in this game. I don't know, maybe it's just me and having the same 3D designs of Pokemon since basically Generation 6, but there just seems to be a lot more personality in this game, and it just feels a lot better, I guess, to go back to. Like, this is my favorite way of playing the Kanto region right now. Again, don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I think original Gen 1 is still fantastic to play if you've never played a Pokemon game before. But the Let's Go games are just great games, and they got a lot of heat because of the catching mechanic. They got a lot of heat because they were too easy. You know, the basic Pokemon complaints, you can say. But they run really well, they look really great, and if you can get past the catching mechanic, it's actually pretty fun to have a different catching mechanic. I'm always someone who loves when franchises try something new, and that's what they tried to do here. Obviously, it was more trying to capitalize on the success of Pokemon Go, which is what I said earlier, but I think it works here. Maybe it's just the art style, maybe it's just how the game works, but I actually like it. I think you still have so many battles throughout the game because Kanto is very much riddled with battles that removing them from the wild encounters for the most part actually works. And then for a lot of the bigger kind of legendary static encounters, you still have to battle them and defeat them before trying to capture them. And I don't know, I just really like it. The removal of the Safari Zone, though, definitely makes me a little sad for sure. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I would love to hear if anyone else has been going back to play the Let's Go games. I mean, I'm probably the only person on the planet still playing these. But if you're a newer Pokemon fan just because of Pokemon Go or because of the trading card games, I actually think the Let's Go games are a fantastic way to start the franchise, just because it helps you understand type matchups. It gets you your toes wet a little bit before you have to jump into more mainline games. And again, I think it just looks fantastic. I wish there was a little more trainer customization, but I mean, it's here, so I'll take it. But this has been ThatTrainerNate, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.